Hello, my name is DeLa-Cruz-Montgomery, and I'm going to be doing the fact judge for debate number 3, part 1. I'm going to start with Chris's pro. He starts his argument off with business leaders pay too much attention to innovation and not talented entrepreneurship, a quote by Jim Clifton in the article Why Entrepreneurs Matter Much More Than Innovators. I felt like Jim Clifton was a good, reliable source, as he is the chairman and CEO of the Gallup Business Journal and author of The Coming Jobs War. The quote actually used is an excerpt from that book. He's a good source because he's knowledgeable and has written several other books. He also achieved a 15-fold increase in billing volume and expanded Gallup from US to a worldwide with 40 offices. He then talks about Mark Cuban in Here's What You Need to Know Before Starting a Business by Max Nissen in the Business Insider, Mark Cuban sold his first company for a profit of $2 million after taxes and has a net worth of $2.5 billion as an entrepreneur, and Chris's point, not an innovator. This I found was accurate. He then discusses well-known successful entrepreneurs with a Forbes article. Forbes is a well-known and respected website, so I felt like that was a reliable source. The article was a little bit older. It was dated January of 2007. However, when I checked the facts that he had stated, I found a newer article from Forbes.com that Oprah's net worth is still $2.7 billion, and that was dated September of 2012. So his facts were accurate, just the article was a little bit older. And he then mentions Yahoo Voices, Arnold's success, in an article. In the article, Arnold Schwarzenegger's success in the Yahoo Voices article by Kirk Kibbe Warden. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Man of Success. This article is also a little old, published in 2008. However, I did find a 2012 published Forbes article, What Arnold Schwarzenegger Taught Me About Building a Successful Career. And in that article, it talked about his bricklaying business and being a millionaire by 30, which I found was accurate information. He then goes into a quote from businessweek.com, which is also up to date and a very reliable website, which the quote was, "What makes an entrepreneur? Hard work, ambition, resourcefulness, unconventional thinking, salesmanship, and leadership will always trump brilliant ideas." And again, I felt like his sources were reliable and definitely helped prove his point. And in Amy's Con, she starts with also a businessweek.com article, which is the same article. Like I said, it's reliable, up to date. And she says innovation trumps entrepreneurship when it comes to economic growth. Then she goes into Google definitions, which I just looked into Google definitions, and she was accurate in her quoting of the definition. And then she uses the same article as earlier, thebusinessweek.com, to make a point that entrepreneurs are making something out of something else. She uses an example of electric cars. The article she got was from the SF Chronicle in December of 2012, so it was up to date. She basically used that to prove that electric cars are more popular today. People aren't buying the bigger SUVs, they're buying the smaller smart cars. I found that this article was very accurate, and the quote was taken in context of the article, so I felt like she did a good job with that. And she also explains how a company such as Apple are helping the economy, and used this article published in December of 2012, the U.S. Manufacturing Meaningful Shift or PR Moves in Forbes. Forbes is, like I said, a reliable source. However, I didn't think that she took the quote necessarily in context. The article was more so about the PR decisions Apple was making than the point that she was making. However, other than that, I do feel like she did a good job pulling quotes to back up and support her argument. And then we have Chris's pro rebuttal. He used the same quote that Amy used: the 88% of the world's entrepreneurship succeed through exceptional execution of ordinary ideas, except that he uses that for his argument, which I thought was more accurate, just because he broke down the wordage, and I think that that was taken more into context for his argument, in that it does say exceptional execution and just an ordinary idea. Also, he uses the businessweek.com, the same article, but furthermore, he uses the George Eastman to get into the quote that he uses: the innovative ideas spark new markets and strong economic growth, while the repetitive reliance on well-known ideas ultimately stalls and crashes. Again, that's the businessweek.com, and he uses that just to kind of explain George Eastman's entrepreneurship of and innovation of the digital camera, and how the success and failure of that, or the failure is due to the management decisions, not necessarily what he had created, because he did help invent the digital camera. And then he also uses the last Kodak moment, The Economist. He uses a quote in there to further explain what I was just speaking on. And that article was published in January of 2012, so I found that it was very accurate and informational to Chris's point. Even some of the things he didn't pull out, I think, definitely supported his argument. He also referred to the Edison Tech Center for Amy's point of the electric cars to validate that the date of the first electric car was made. I checked a couple of websites, and on aboutinvestors.com it states that the first electric car was in fact invented in 1935 by Thomas Davenport, so I found that his information was correct about that as well. And then lastly, we have Amy's con rebuttal. She didn't really cite anything besides the Kardashian quote, but I did look into the Beats by Dre website, where I found that on the About Us part, it talks about how in 2006, Dr. Dre and the chairman of Interscope, Jeffen and AM Records, and Jimmy Levine got together to create that brand. And in that same section, it goes on to their mission statement, which says that they want to provide superior end-to-end music experience with headphones. The experience was aided by HP, Chrysler Group, HTC Mobile, and led by Jimmy Levine, Dr. Dre, and Luke Wood, and they're based out of Santa Monica, California. So I felt that she was right in that a lot of celebrities do just put their name on things. However, I think Dr. Dre had more to do than just put his name on the product, considering that he was one of the main people in developing the product and the mission statement for it. And then she continues to talk about Kim Kardashian and how she is a true innovator, as you see her in like her shows, checking on perfumes and things like that. And I found that the article definitely supported what she was trying to say, the Forbes article, because it was dated in 2010, so it's pretty up to date. However, I do feel like Kim Kardashian does just put her name on things. She's not necessarily an innovator, because she does not create those items. She does have some part in it, just like Dr. Dre. However, I do feel like Kim Kardashian wasn't the best example of an innovator. And that concludes this judgment.